Welcome back to the show, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Happy New Year, Senator Johnson. You're awful good on radio this weekend. We appreciated it, and here you are on TV. And I want to ask you, did you watch the Trump town hall last night, sir? And what'd you think?
Well, Larry, I wasn't able to. I wish I could have, based on your analysis of it. I think you laid out the case pretty well. The chaos is coming from the Democrat side of the aisle, from the radical leftists that the Biden administration is and are, the chaos on the border. I mean, just across the board, you laid out the case. And so I wish I would have seen President Trump. I appreciate his measured responses in these areas, and I agree with you. The retribution will be in the success, in tamping down the chaos, in returning prosperity, and hopefully unity to this country. You know, President Biden 8 times in his inaugural address said his #1 goal is to unify and heal this country. He has done the exact opposite. The radical left is dividing this country, identity politics, critical race theory, again, the open border. By the way, you're not going to put that genie back in the bottle. You've got 6 million people here led into this country. We don't know who they are, where they are. The 40-year high inflation, $1 that you held at the start of the Biden administration is worth 85 cents now. That damage has been done. We need to repair that damage with the new administration.
Well, Senator Johnson, you had yesterday the Republican Senate conference met to talk about the illegal immigration situation and the negotiations or lack thereof with your Democratic counterparts and the Biden White House, if there is much. I know Senator Langford gave a report. Tell us where the conference is, and tell us, please, where Senator Ron Johnson wants it to be.
Well, first of all, I'm glad we were able to slow the process down. Leaders Schumer and McConnell wanted to rush this thing through, vote before Christmas. It wasn't ready. I think James Langford is doing as good a job as he possibly can. He's very knowledgeable about this. It sounds like he's holding the line. It's very complex, but the main problem, maybe the fatal flaw here, is that he's negotiating with a conference with a president who want an open border, who caused the problem. I mean, they are the root cause. And my guess is Democrats want these talks to fail so they can just blame somebody. They don't want to close the border. They want political cover. So it's a very big challenge for James Langford, but I will have to say, he is making progress, and there's some real positive parts to what he's trying to negotiate. The problem is, and this would be a problem, quite honestly, with H.R. 2. A lot of this stuff would work if we were back at Trump levels. What Trump basically left for Biden was a more normal encounter rate at the border. That was about 30,000 a month. Right now, we are encountering 300,000 a month. It's an order of magnitude worse. There's not legislation that's going to fix that. You're going to have to do something extraordinary. And I think that's the hard question that James has to answer is, okay, you say if you hit a certain level, you're going to shut the border down. How are you going to do it? How do you have the personnel? Give us the specifics. Are the Democrats really going to agree to that? So there's a lot of detail here. Again, I would like to be able to have a real positive result, put in some really strong border security measures that even if this president doesn't fully utilize them, President Trump would. So again, it's complex, but I have to give James Langford credit. He's making some progress, and the acid test will be whether Democrats will really stop abusing the parole authority, which they are abusing. And if they're not willing to do that, that's pretty much...
That's one of the key things. Yeah, that's where I wanted to go. The reports coming out of your meeting and the conference meeting was on the parole issue, capping it. You've talked about numerical targets. I mean, I think we should have numerical targets, frankly, across the board. But with respect to the paroles, which has been a gigantic Biden loophole for open borders, can the GOP get numerical targeted caps on these paroles to stop people from just coming into the states and, staying forever?
Well, it's pretty much a unified position, a red line that if Democrats aren't willing to stop abusing the parole system, They're just not serious, and we're just not going to be able to agree to things. But remember, parole is really supposed to be on a case-by-case basis for humanitarian reasons. Maybe you have cancer, you want to come in temporarily for cancer treatment and then go home, or come in for a funeral. It's only meant for a case-by-case temporary stay in this country. It's not meant for massive classes of individuals, hundreds of thousands of people, which is how the Biden administration is using it.
Take it a step further. As you know, lots of talk about impeaching DHS Secretary Mayorkas, at least if not a formal impeachment, investigations. What has gone wrong? Why has he allowed laws to expire, sovereignty to end, and so forth and so on? What's your take on that impeachment issue? Is any of it going to spread to the Senate?
Well, I'm all for the impeachment inquiries and the hearings because it exposes this. It shows the American public what's actually happening. And let's face it, the mainstream media, by and large, has not covered this. That's why this has gotten so out of control. If you had an honest media that was, truly holding this administration accountable, it would not have gotten so far out of hand. The only reason Democrats are negotiating with us now is, first, they want Ukraine funding, but they realize there's political peril in this open border. So again, they're looking for political cover. They would have been looking for it a lot sooner. We probably would have had more controls on this had the mainstream media been honest and reported on this.
I mean, one of the things in the middle of this whole debate about Mayorkas's poor performance, about the catastrophe at the border and 300,000 in December and so forth and so on. In New York City, as you probably read, a couple of thousand school kids, young school kids, basically from lower income families, but they were going to school. They had to leave the classroom and be replaced by illegal immigrants, and then they would have to go online or maybe Zoom. And nobody wants that, including even Mayor Eric Adams. Now, that's the kind of thing that puts a human face on this tragedy. I'd say we need more discussions of that in order to drive real policy reforms through in the next few weeks.
And the only reason the mainstream media is starting to cover this is because they can't hide it anymore. When you have a Mayor Adams saying 100,000, that's less than 2% of the total, is going to destroy New York City. When school children are being displaced, the press can't hide this anymore. They can't cover up for Biden. So that's creating the political pressure that might give us an opportunity at least to pass laws that a good president, somebody who actually wants to secure the border, could use. But hopefully we can force this president to do a whole lot better job than he's doing right now.
All right. Senator Ron Johnson, thank you, sir. Happy New Year.